Welcome to Rites of Passage, Stories of Service, presented by Milltree Veteran Project. I'm Dawn Davis, and in this 5-episode series, you'll hear from participants of Milltree's recent Rites of Passage program. Milltree is a nonprofit organization based in Joshua Tree, California, creating community between veterans, service members, and civilians through the arts, dialogue, shared projects, and creative entrepreneurship. Running from February through June of 2026, Rites of Passage brought participants together for a weekend retreat, writing workshops, performance coaching, and live storytelling events, offered to participants at no cost through the support of the California Arts Council Community Impact Grant and generous community donors. I'm talking with Mary Jean M.J. Puckett. A nurse for more than 4 decades, MJ has spent her career caring for others in some of life's most vulnerable moments, working in emergency medicine, maternal child health, and child protective services here in the Morongo Basin. She is also the wife of a Marine and the mother of a Marine, giving her a unique perspective on service from both professional and personal viewpoints. Through the Rites of Passage program, MJ explored her own experiences of caregiving, memory, and connection through storytelling. Today, she joins us to reflect on the writing process and the many ways service can shape a life. Hi.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good. So, you have spent much of your career caring for people as a nurse, and you're also part of a military family. How has that experience of caring for others shaped who you are today?
It has greatly shaped me. Being a 2-year nurse, because I was in the very first nursing program in the Morongo Basin. It was put on COD. We were at the Catholic school in 29 Palms. They ran it for 24 months solid, and we got our ADN at the end of that. And during that, I got pregnant and had my baby at spring break with 10 days off. It was perfect. So I was surrounded. There was a couple of military people in our class. There was only 10 of us. And we would go down below for our big classes, but all the other ones were held in 29 Palms. So, having that contact all the time with military. And then I lived just a mile from the perimeter of the base out off Lear. And whenever they were bombing, the walls and windows would shake and we'd duck and cover, Oh, they're playing today,
I think a lot of people that come out here for the first time and haven't experienced that yet, kind of, it throws them
It does.
at first. Like, what is happening?
They're bombing real close by.
Right. So did you grow up in this area, in the Morongo Basin?
No, I grew up in Santa Barbara,
Okay.
Goleta, for about 20 years and lived in Pomona for just a brief bit of time. I married a highway patrol. And then his dad was out here on Bywater Lane. And so we moved out here. And it was rough because I was young. I was like 24 and there was nobody there. Your closest neighbor's half-mile down the road. You're living out in the dirt. You're sinking your own well 500 feet. You're getting hot water just like Desert Hot Springs. And so it was a little rough. It was a little rough to be that young and to be that isolated.
Certainly.
Yeah.
But you stayed.
Yeah. I always saw that Mount Gorgonial over there, and that was like, my safe space,
Oh, nice. Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
It is.
So when did the Marine come into your life?
My husband and I had divorced, and oh my God, I don't know if I should tell you this story. 29 Palms has as many bars as it does churches. So I ran into my now husband of 43 years around town, and we became involved, and he was, active. He was working on the base, and so it was just really interesting. I got to use the dependent benefits. I had a couple surgeries on base when we got married and qualified, So yeah, I was there in that kind of setting as a dependent and support of a Marine.
And before we sat down, you said something to the effect of, it's really hard when they go.
Okay, so my son, who we used to dress up in camis at 3 years old, he's like 20, 19, 20, and he's tried school and he's working at a Safeway up in Eureka, and he comes down and starts talking to Ted, my husband, about the Marine Corps. And, I always thought he'd follow his dad, be, some kind of law enforcement or California Caltrans or something like the family did. But he wanted to be a Marine. And so I dropped him off at Pendleton for boot camp. I missed the big turn. You got to go like another 20 miles and turn around and come back because I didn't take the right exit. And dropped him off in the middle of Pendleton, and all these young men, and it was like, bye, And then he ended up serving 21 years.
Wow.
He went to war 3 times. And every time they go, you're just a wreck. Your brain's somewhere else.
Sure.
I was at the gas station, pulled out with the pump still in my car, and it was like, oh, where am I?
Yeah.
Because we were watching Fox News at that time, where they were right in the trenches with them every day. That's just your whole world,
right. And how about your husband when he was in service? Did
no, he never deployed.
Never deployed. Oh,
no. So he was just support here. He'd go out in the field, which was always fun. The stories of finding the scorpions and the snakes and the lizards and, camping in the desert with a bunch of guys,
right. Yeah. When you joined the Rites of Passage program and you first sat down to write, did you already know what story you were going to tell, or did it reveal itself during the process?
I started with another story, actually. And then when it got more refined as to where we were going to present and who our audience and what the theme would be in service and stuff, I changed it to another one. I have several stories of the Morongo Basin and going into strange homes.
What were some highlights from the original story you were going to?
The original story. Well, these children were in foster care, and the foster mom didn't want me to come. We had an appointment all set up, and then I went to the door, knocked, nobody answered. So then I went back a little bit and watched the house and called, and lo and behold, somebody answered. And so I convinced her I had to see the children now. And I went in, and there was 4 of them. The youngest was about 7 or 8 months. And he grabbed a hold of me, his legs around my stomach, his arms around my chest, and he wouldn't let go.
Oh, gosh.
And he was starving, basically. The foster mom was there with her children, and they all had fast food. And these kids were, in their room, and they were hungry. And so I made her get me some food for this infant, and so I could watch him feed and everything. And he was just really hungry. So he ended up at Loma Linda for 3 weeks. He had quite a few issues from being in foster care.
Oh, my goodness.
So you never know.
Right. So in the beginning, we talked about you taking the nursing school. When you graduated, did you work in hospital?
Yeah, I went to Desert Hospital, the intensive care. And then from there, I did employee occupational health. And then I ended up back in the ER, were, critical and emergency and trauma center. And during that time working there, I got my bachelor's degree. It took me 7 years because I took 1 class a semester. I had children, I had 2 jobs, and I had to pace it.
Yeah.
And I just had finished my baccalaureate, got my public health certificate, and one of the nurses I had mentored in the ER, unfortunately, she didn't make it, but she had her bachelor's. She'd come up to Joshua Tree, who was the public health nurse up here, and they were doing a new program with Child Protective Services, RX for Kids, where they wanted a public health nurse in the office with the social workers to go out and evaluate the children with them. And she put my name in the hat, and I talked to everybody and, interviewed in San Bernardino and got the position.
That's amazing.
It was.
Was it hard then to leave the hospital?
No, because I kept working I'd work 1 day a week still. So, yeah, it wasn't hard.
Gotcha.
I maintained both positions.
So let's talk about the story you did write.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, in this case, you work with families and you get to know them pretty well. You'll see them at Walmart and they'll pick up their baby and say, "Look, MJ, the baby's fat." And you're all happy, and it's an exciting thing. But so you do develop a relationship with the family. And this mother, she was illiterate. She couldn't read. So I had done a parenting class for about 20 of our families, and we read it out loud so that they could get the most from it and then discuss the content. So I knew her pretty well. After the pickup, I'm sorry. Initially, we got a call from the Marine Corps Ground Center Hospital, and they had a positive mom and baby for methamphetamine. So we were asked to come out as Child Protective Services and evaluate everything. And which we did, and we took all the children into custody. There was 5 of them. Because the mom had split. She thought she was going to get arrested or something, so she ran. And in doing so, abandoned this baby, right? No mom, and so we put her in foster care. And for 5 months, she was well taken care of and well loved and well fed. And then she was put back in a strange home with her mother and her siblings. And even though she had a full bottle of milk all the time, she was wasting away. She was just a skeleton with skin on it. It was just a terrible thing to see. And the parents didn't notice it. The other kids didn't notice it because they're just plugging in, right? Here's your bottle. And everything's got to be fine until you start looking beneath that. And that's when you find the failure to thrive. And so, of course, we had to remove her and put her in an adoptive home. That attachment could never come for that mother and that infant.
It was too late.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Yeah, she was dying from lack of attachment. So, yeah, that was pretty stark.
Yeah, I imagine you've probably seen some pretty heartbreaking things.
A lot.
In your career.
Yes.
Yeah.
The trauma in the ER as well as CPS. Because you're always amazed at how could this happen? How could this child, be in these circumstances? But what I have found truly is all parents love their kids. They might have addiction, they might have developmental delays, they might have other issues, but they all really love them and they want the best for them.
Yeah.
But it's a struggle and a fight sometimes. So.
What were some things that, did you have any practices for what we call today as self-care for yourself after a day out, walking into these harrowing situations and then having to come home and just make dinner? How was your day? Did you have any things that you did for yourself?
Well, like I said, I think I was blessed to get this position because you end up working with a lot of social workers, and a lot of them are in the program. A lot of them counsel. A lot of them have been in counseling, and so it's not a nursing world. It's a social worker world, and it really broadens your mind and your horizons to take in the bigger picture than the nurse who wants it, is in control and has everything a certain way and people will behave this way or else. No, you realize that people are people and they're all unique. They all are worthy of your respect and you treat them with that. So for me, it was my blessing. It really was.
So you didn't have any days when you came home and just said, I don't think I can do this anymore?
No,
Yeah.
Balls to the walls, gun-ho, bring on the trauma.
Well, then they needed someone like you.
Apparently.
Yes. During one of the exercises, and I think it was in when Renee Pickup was doing the editing month that we were in this program, you had talked about the smells associated with caregiving and home life. What was it like discovering how strongly scent could connect you to your memories?
Oh, it's amazing to me because you will, once you smell a dirty home, you will never, ever forget that scent. We would drive up park the car, look at the home, and you could smell it in the car, even though you couldn't really, but you knew you were going into a dirty home. And they would reek. There would be cockroaches climbing the walls, and there'd be, dog feces around, and, dirty diapers stuck somewhere, and then the people, I think a lot of it's not washing hair and dental. Their oral hygiene and their teeth are rotting. A lot of them are meth users, and so it was like a combination of all of that unwashed and untaken care of body parts. And so it got to the point, well, you use little Vicks, in your nose. That helps.
There you go.
It does.
So I think I was at one of those weeks with Renee when these exercises came up. There was like the sounds and the smells. Do you remember what the other ones were?
Well, for one of the best ones is visual, because we were in a strange home. The family wasn't there, but we had to go in. It's in 29. Make sure they had cooling. Some kind of refrigeration. They could have an ice chest even, as long as it worked for them, because there might not be electricity and stuff. So we're in this home and we're checking it out. We lifted the ice chest and just slammed it back down because it looked like a hairy head was in there. I know, and you don't know what you're getting. You're out in the boonies, right? Nobody's there. And I bravely opened it up again. It was just an old watermelon that had gone in there and it had grown like the hair. But it scared the bejesus out of us. We didn't know what we were going to walk into that day.
Oh my goodness. Big science project in that cooler.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Looking back over your experience in the program this year, was it really more about writing a story, or did you find it was more about understanding something about yourself?
I think it was trying to express what you understand about yourself so that others could see it. Because, it's kind of confused inside, right? It's all these different pathways and it's different things. So trying to focus that into something that, others actually can understand. And so that for me was the challenge. So I have more stories, lots of them, but they make people cry.
Yeah.
And they're not pleasant. So you really can't share when you talk about having someone to debrief with.
Right.
If I run into an old nurse or somebody that knows, you can talk on a level that nobody else understands.
Yeah.
But in general, you don't want to put these things on regular people because they're overwhelming.
Yeah. I remember, were you there when Sylvia, I think her name was Sylvia, she was talking about her mom's dementia. And that was really hard. Like you said, it was hard. That was hard to listen to.
Yes.
Like she was in that space of her mother didn't recognize her, but said, I know you. I know you. Yeah. So
I don't know who you are.
Right. Exactly. So speaking of that, at various parts of the program, participants were given the opportunity to share their writings with the group, whether it was those brief timed, like, use sense memory, use smell memory, use sound or music memory. Was there a moment when another participant's story changed how you viewed your story?
There was, I felt like I was blessed to hear all their stories because they were very impactful for them. And that carried over to me. So in trying to present my story, I was trying to put the most factual but the most real feelings into it. So that's what they gave me, I think, the most was their sincerity and the pain.
I think sometimes when someone does share something that deep, it encourages us to share our own, and maybe that's where the healing happens.
Yeah.
Right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I do.
Looking back on the whole process, from the original retreat to all the workshops to sharing your work publicly, Which part of the experience surprised you the most?
How hard it is to write all this, and try to. Initially, I wrote it all in not big words, but like if I was presenting, because I have presented at some conference and stuff, so like that, and then through talking with others, learning that it should be more about the real feeling, the real story, and how you felt through it, and that's a different writing way.
Yeah.
So I changed it up quite a bit and got rid of some of those big words and tried to make it more like who I really am.
Like you were almost talking to one person at a time instead
Yes.
of a group of people.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. And what was your experience like at the last open mic reading?
I really liked hearing everybody's stories. I even though I'd heard them before because we had done this process together,
Sure.
it's still impactful. It's still very impactful.
Yeah.
And I felt glad that I could get up there and stand and say it, present my piece, as it were.
Right.
So I felt good about that. It's
Nice.
like, I've accomplished this. This is like a step. This is, you're guided through the rites of passages, and here you are now presenting with it.
Yeah, and sharing. That's great. So for someone listening who may be carrying stories that they haven't shared, whether they're a veteran, active duty, civilian, what would you want them to know about this program and the Miltree organization?
That it will help them to take all those words that are running around inside your head, to focus them down and be able to write them out, because it is a cathartic. It is good for your soul. And so that's what it gave me, and I'm sure that they can gain that same on some. Everybody's different, we all receive and give at different levels, but it will help to kind of get your story into where you want it to be, and understand it for yourself, I think.
Sure, yeah. Is this the first time that you've participated in a Miltree program?
Yes,
it is. Okay. Okay. And what inspired you to join this one?
Well, I've always wanted to write my stories. Because again, you can't share them much. So if I wrote them all out, then that would help me to see them and to work through it. Nice. So for me, it was like, a little beacon light that I could buzz towards and go, okay, this will help me, and then I can process all of my trauma.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think you'd participate again?
Definitely. Nice. It's a positive, and everybody you have in contact with you, like you and all the other people of Miltree, are very positive and very loving and nurturing. So that helps.
That does help.
Yeah, there's no criticism. There's nothing. If there's any kind of response to what you're doing, it's all positive. So that's always a blessing.
Nice.
Yes.
I want to thank you for making the trip out to the studio today and having this conversation.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
You've been listening to Rites of Passage, Stories of Service, presented by Miltree Veteran Project. If this conversation resonated with you, I hope you'll share it with a friend. Music for this series is courtesy of participant John Kalb and his fellow songwriters from the Miltree Songwriters Workshop. Recorded at Goat Mountain Studio in Landers, California. To hear more stories like this, support the work, or learn about future workshops, visit mil-tree.org. Until next time, thanks for listening.